I'm back with a little bit of an update from my last tutorial, last video. The last video I did was on the riser blocks on the lathe. So even though I'm unable to do a complete finish up on this, I want to bring you up to speed and show you what I have encountered with this riser. And I don't know if you have seen the video, but basically I did a riser kit, and my 12-inch lathe has the capacity to spin about 17 and a half inch bowl between centers, between the bed. One of the problems that I didn't anticipate right off the bat when I started doing this, and I'm surprised. Let me hold this by hand, and well, the riser blocks went fairly smooth. It's 4 3/4 inch blocks of poplar, and of course they're channeled to ride nicely between the bed, and they do. The centering of the tips, I mean, you know, that's pretty true the way it is. I actually have a little wobble on this this spur drive. It goes up slightly, and I don't use that a lot, but that's not crucial, but I'm right there with that. One thing that I knew I had to do, since I was raising up the whole headstock and the tailstock by 3 inches, is I knew that my tool rest were not going to reach. As it was, it barely reached the 12-inch. So what I thought that I was going to have to do was simply do this. I slipped on a 5/8 inside the diameter pipe, and that went in there really tight, so there was no problem with this. It was going to hold, and I rose it up to the right height. Okay, beautiful. The one drawback, and that's what I didn't figure on, is my banjo is a rather short banjo, and when I bring it all the way up to the extremes on this side, it really only gave me 6 inches from tip to the outside of it. So I really would not be able to get any tools outside of the that parameter. I mean, I could swing it in the front, could swing it in the back, and you know, angle the tool itself and get a little bit, but I would not be able to pass it over whatever bowl that I would have set up. So here's the solution that I'm working on. Is I just finished heating it up, and this is actually still rather hot. I put a 5/8 rod in there. And it's the exact size that I required, and I made a 3-inch offset bend on that. What I'll do later on is cut it up to height, drill it, put a piece of the same rod tapped to maybe a 1/4 inch bolt on there, slip another piece of pipe in here with the shape on the top to contour this this shaft. Once I have it threaded all the way in, locked up, drop a little bit of CA glue on there, put maybe some gel weld on the thing, and then push up the pipe solid against there, so this will not be able to spin on its axis. That should lock it up all in position, and that will give me the 8.5 inches span from the stock itself. So that will solve that problem. Now with this, I mentioned on my video how the speed on this was going to be too fast for anything that was over 12 inches anyway. As it was, it's 535 RPMs is the slowest speed on this. So if I had a 12-inch bowl that was for a natural edge and it was off balance, it really rocked a little bit, and it was not something I like to do. So I mean I went out of the way and did all the extra precautions in rounding it off as much as I could, balancing it off on the lathe as much as I could, then start spinning on that, and there would still be a certain amount of vibration. And you know, I always wished that the lathe had a slower speed. Well, I mentioned that one of the things that I wanted to do to this with this project was to put a counter shaft on this, and I've been trying to figure out exactly what I was going to do with a counter shaft. So I've come up with a solution, I just haven't done it. Meanwhile, because that raised up the whole lathe, I knew number one is that just to use it, I haven't put the counter shaft in yet, I would have to raise the motor so the belt would reach. Now changing the speeds on this is a matter of releasing it on the top, going to a smaller pulley, and then I can jump to the different size pulleys on here. And this lathe goes, like I said, from 535 RPMs to 4680 RPMs. So that's rather fast for a lathe. I don't know. They built it, so I'm sure that there's a use for spindle or pen turning or something like that, that you would utilize that speed and get a nice smooth cut on that. You know, the faster you go, the smoother the cut is. There's no doubt about that. But here's what I've done. I actually went to an Ace hardware store, a local hardware store, and I picked up a couple of pulleys. I got a 5-inch diameter, which is going to go on my shaft that I'm going to make up, and a 2.5-inch diameter to go into the motor. These weren't too bad. This was $15. I think this was $7 and change. So this is going to go into the motor, and I'm going to make a pulley in between the motor. Actually, the motor, the way I'm thinking, and I'm going to see if I can fit it in there, but I don't know if I will. I wanted to put the motor actually upside down underneath the bed, but the clearance in here is just about the width of the plate, the mounting plate. So I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but if I can't do that, what I'm going to do is mount it underneath with the shaft on this side, put this pulley exact in its location, with picked up a couple of bearings. They're not block bearings, they're not pillow block bearings. I don't know what you call it. Anyway, I got a 5/8 flange bearing, I think that's what you call these. So it will go into the shaft. I will make the walls for this. Put my 5-inch pulley in here. Put my original 4-step pulley in the shaft itself. So giving me that 5-inch, the 5-inch at the end, the 4-step pulley, the original speeds from the lathe, and I'll cut the excess off, mount that at that height, and I'll be able to maintain the same belt that's already coming from the lathe headstock itself. I'll maintain that until I either pick up one of those link pulleys. I have a little bit of wear, but the belt is still tight. I don't know how I got that little wear out. It's like it rubbed on something, but the belt is solid. It's not going anywhere. So I will do that, and that will reduce my 1750 RPM motor. That initial speed will be half of that. It will be 875, I think, reduction. So with 875, and I'll go through the regular steps of the lathe pulley. That will bring my slowest speed to 325, and on up to 2200 if I'm not mistaken right now. I went to the computer and I did I pulled up, I googled spindle speed or pulley speeds, and that's basically what it tells me. And you can run any configuration on that or whatever sizes you have, and it tells you what you're going to end up with your speed. So with that 325 I'll be happy, because even with that step and maintaining that, I'll still be able to achieve a 2200 RPM as the high-end speed, and that will be perfectly fine. I actually picked up 2 additional pulleys because I was thinking of going back to its original settings, but I don't know what I was thinking when I bought them. What I did is I bought 2 sets of each, and well, that doesn't work. It only works on a 1-to-1. If I was able to go back from a 1.5 or a 2.5 inch to a 2.5 inch, then that would maintain that speed and go through. But when you do that, you no longer have the same distance on the belt as you do with this setup. So it actually has to work in the reverse. Well, working on a reverse, all that would do is increase my lathe speed to like 20,000 RPMs. So of course I'm not going to be doing that. So I will just be putting these 2 pulleys and maintain it a 2-to-1 ratio for motor on the reduction, and that will be fine. My initial thought is I had an old lathe, and I pulled this shaft out of it, and I was going to be using this as a setup. The problem is I don't want to modify my original gears or my original pulleys from the lathe, and this is several different thicknesses on this shaft. I got a 3/4, a 5/8, a 1/2 inch, and my pulley is a 5/8, so it won't be able to go into this main center of the shaft. I was going to make some wooden pulleys, but when I saw those, it's like, okay, that will work for me. You know, I thought maybe I would modify this pulley that came from this actual shaft, but it only fits on this outside part, and it fit, the other one fitted on the motor that was attached to this, which was 1/3 horsepower, really not a motor worthwhile doing anything with. So not going to be using this at all. I will be using that probably on my disc sander. I have a 1 horse power on that, and it's too fast for wood. 1700 RPMs is you know, way too fast for sanding. So with this shaft, I'll utilize this shaft back to its original standing, except with a 1 horse motor. I'll do that in a step and slow that down to, or at least have the option of going you know, to a 1/2 speed of that. So that's what I got going on. I apologize for not updating on this a little bit sooner. It's been a while, but that's basically what's going on. Yesterday I had surgery. Day before yesterday, I'm sorry, I had surgery on my elbow, and it's helped. You know, I mean, on the pain that I was feeling on my forearm, thumb, you know, wrist type thing, that helped. And of course, you know, there's another follow-up on this, which is on the shoulder itself. You know, so I'm out of commission for a little bit, and it's killing me. I mean, I watch you guys doing videos out there on YouTube, and you do beautiful stuff, and I want to come out here and start making a video myself, or start wood turning, even if I don't do a video on it. You know, this is a passion that I just love. I love woodworking to start off with, so coming out here, it's like an adventure. I don't know what's gonna really come out of my wood, and you know, I really enjoy it, and I hope to be able to get back into this really soon.